Hey, what's going on, guys? My camera's broken, I can't see the screen, so I'm just gonna hope that you can see me all clearly, and I guess I'll find out right before I upload it, right? Good. Alright, so this is the third section of trust, because I was breaking it up into 3 different sections. Well, more than 3 sections. This just happens to be the third part. But today we're talking about how trust can actually be quantifiable, meaning that we can actually put it into a formula and identify how much trust there is. So, the formula is, the less trust you have with somebody, the longer it's going to take to get an activity done, and the more it's going to cost you. However, on the other end of it, the more trust you have with somebody, the lower the cost, and the faster the speed. Sure, that seems obvious, but let me just go ahead and put a couple examples in there for you anyways. So before 9/11, you know, airport security wasn't really that difficult. You could just go through and probably be to your flight probably a half hour beforehand and get in, go out, be perfectly fine. After 9/11, you know, with supposed terrorist activity and all the stuff that happened during that time, security, well, you know, if you've ever ridden a plane since then, which is pretty probable, you have to go there an hour and a half, 2 hours beforehand, and you get patted down by people, go through this giant machine, and possibly have your luggage searched several times. And the whole thing is because now there's a distrust. Now it's not so much of a trusting environment. It's costing them more to check you. It's costing you more time, and it's just a low trust environment. On the other hand, there was a guy. His name was Jim, and he worked in New York and a little vendor. He sold coffee and donuts. So Jim had a lot of customers, more than he could handle. He was a one-man show, and he would sell coffee and donuts from, you know, the main through most of the day, but he had his spikes and where customers just rushed in at once. Well, anyways, he found out that after a while, a lot of his customers were leaving because the time it took him to make change was taking so much time, where he'd have a customer of 10 people. And people would start walking away. They couldn't handle it because they had places to be. So what Jim did was he started taking little baskets and putting change already, because, you know, you have your coffee has a set price, your donuts have a set price, and then he put like little change buckets, and he had customers make their own change. Now, the idea behind that was that you'd assume that people would take, you know, accidentally take more coins than they're supposed to, or not pay enough, and maybe take extra quarters out. But what ended up happening was the absolute opposite. You know, because he was leaving a trusting environment, customers actually left more gratuitous tips. See, that's really interesting there, because if you want to build more trust with people, you just have to demonstrate trust first. You know, if you're gonna wanna, let's say you haven't met anybody before, or you just met somebody for the first time, and let's say you're at a party and you have your car parked somewhere, and you hand them the keys and say, "Hey, do you mind moving my car for me?" That's, somebody might look at you like, "Whoa, like we just met and you're asking me to do that." See, it's because it takes a lot of trust. You know, like not to screw up their car and not to run off with it. Not that that would happen, right? You would never do that. But that act of giving somebody the benefit of the doubt, and you can do it in just small sections, and then just do these big acts of kindness or big acts of identifying that you trust the person, and that'll automatically, you'll bring the trustability. Is that how it is? You will bring out their ability to be trusted that much more. Because when you trust somebody, it's just universal law. It's just kind of magical like that. The more trust you put towards somebody, the more trustworthy they will become. So it's kind of an interesting idea. So it's 2 cool points. You know, if you're going to go into an area where there's low trust, like an airport, you know, it's their job to make sure it's like a low trust environment because it's security reasons. This is an element that you can control because you decide on how much trust you'll give to other people, you know? I've been pretty trustworthy, or I've put a lot of trust in other people. I try to lead by integrity, and I try to think of the best of people when I meet them, you know? And I haven't had any problems. I haven't had any shady people come into my life or any weird stories to talk about how somebody did this, that, or the other to me, because when you put trust in other people, the best qualities come out. So just keep that in mind. And we're going to talk about maybe some other fundamentals tomorrow, but we'll get into that. So I'll see you tomorrow.